Well, everybody, we have a Patreon exclusive for you, a really wonderful recipe. Two recipes. Today, what we're actually going to do is my oat bread. This is one of the best recipes you'll ever have, and it's real easy to make. Easy to make. And basically, let's start out though. I've got 2.5 cups of warm water here, and I want to put a couple tablespoons of honey in here and some active dry yeast. And because we've got to get this going first. And the active dry yeast, you can get those packets. It usually takes 2 packets of the active dry yeast, or I usually buy the jars, so I get the in bulk form. It seems to get a lot more miles out of it. But if it'd be like I think it's 2 teaspoons in a packet, so you got 4 teaspoons here. We're gonna give this a little mix here. Make sure the water is warm, but not really hot. And all we want to do is really know that this yeast is activating. And you'll see here in a minute. I just want to get all these little clumps out of the way here. Okay, let's set that baby aside for just a second here. And then right here, ingredient-wise, check this out. All you've got is 2 cups of flour here, 2 cups of flour here, and 2 cups of oats here. The flour I'm using here is a Golden White. It's a company up in Minnesota that carries a really good flour. And then this one is a whole wheat pastry flour. So it's just nice to use 2 different flours. If you got 2 different flours, work with it. If not, pretty much any flour will do, except the einkorn. That's a whole different story. And then I've got 2 cups of oats here. Now you can use regular oats or quick oats. Here I'm using half and half. I've got 1 cup of regular oats and 1 cup of quick oats. And I like the regular oats because it kind of puts these little stripe lines in the bread when you cut it. And it just kind of gives it a uniqueness, and people are like, ooh, what's that? You know, so. And in fact, let me use all of this, but I just want to save a little bit for sprinkling on top of the bread when I get it done. My tongue's going like, whoa. Back in the studio again. Yes, I spend a lot of time in here, but sometimes I'm off for a few days, and it takes me a little while to get back in the groove of things. It's just the way it goes. And here I've got a tablespoon of salt right here too. So we're just going to get all this mixed together here. Yeah, this is a fun, easy recipe. If you're following us on Patreon, you've got the recipe right below the video. You can just scroll down and you can do whatever you want with it. I also have some broccoli cooking over here. I'm going to make some broccoli soup too. This bread is perfect for soups. It's just nice, heavy, very wonderful bread that works great with soups. And if you can look at this right here, you can see where the yeast is definitely activating. It's all foaming up here. So that's pretty much ready to go. We're going to give that one little stir here. And then make a little well and pour this right into the flour mixture. Okay. I know I always clean as I go. It's just a habit of mine. Clean. Especially with all this COVID-19, it's people are getting all paranoid and got to wash your hands 30 times a day, and which I do anyway. I'm at home. That's just what we do, and because you're washing dishes all the time. I think one of the problems out there with the kids is we don't have them washing dishes enough. Get rid of the dishwasher, get the kids washing the dishes every day, and then you know their hands are clean. 3 times a day, kids, you're doing dishes. Yeah. Just gonna separate that a little bit. Press this down just a little bit to make sure it's all mixed together. You'll notice though that this dough is really thick. I mean, that baby is thick. And a lot of people think, oh, well, how in the world is that ever going to turn into a good bread? But it does. Okay. That's all it takes, just like that. Let me get a little spray here. So when you work this in here, you'll love my custom pan here. This will give you 2 small loaves, or you can get 1 big one out of it. And this particular pan, I don't know where in the world I found it, but it just works so great. I mean, I just love it. And it's got the right size for a lot of different things I do. Portion-wise, even for doing stuff like meatloaves and stuff, this works really good. But you've got to make sure that you get this out to the edges, because you know this is no rising. Doesn't have a rising time. It's going to go right in the oven, 350 degrees, and we're going to put it in there for about 45 minutes. And then it'll be ready to go. Okay, so that looks good. Oh, yes, wait. And then I'm going to make sure we get our little sprinkles on the top here. That'll be fun. There we go. Okay. Okay, just like that. Yep, 350 degrees for 45 minutes. And then we can work on our soup. Let me first set the timer. I love having timers on the cell phone because, hey, anywhere you go, you've got that timer ready to tell you when your bread's done. So, soup-wise, here we go. Check this out. Right here, we've got our broccoli and water. Nice rule of thumb, equal parts broccoli and water. If you do 6 cups of broccoli, do 6 cups of water, get it boiled off till it's well boiled, and then you're good to go. And then we're going to do some quick blending here. And what I do is I start with the broccoli. I want to get all this in one shot here. I did not make a big batch. Normally I'm making really big batches of soup, but this one, if you want a creamy broccoli soup, then make sure that you don't have any little pieces in there. If you want some broccoli with some little chunks, you can leave some chunks in there. That works just as well. But I'm going to do like a creamy version, and we're going to just get some water in here. Looks like we're going to be okay on this. So give this baby a quick blend right here, and start it out on low. Go. Now you've got green soup. And I'm going to leave just a little bit in here because we're going to get this with some cashews. I want to make a little cashew sauce here. And so we can just give this baby a blend. Might need to add a little bit as I go. I've got some water here, so we'll make sure that this doesn't get too thick on me. Okay, see the whole trick to the cream here is that you want to make sure that the cashews in the water is at a lower level. And you don't want too much water or else it's kind of splashing and then you don't get that creaminess. You end up with it being gritty. And we want creamy, so that's why we do it this way. And get it down there as low as you can, as tight as you can, with the least amount of water, but still be able to spin very well. Now's when you'll see the amazing thing happen. When I put this in here, you're actually going to make your cream soup. It's got to have the cream in there if you're going to have cream soup. And watch how it changes color. It just, boom, changes color just like that. And a little word of advice to you: when you put the cream in there, you actually want to kind of make sure that the temperature of the water is lower so you don't end up with some separation. I got a couple little bumpity bumps in here, which will be fine because I'm going to let this go for a little while. And get that whole baby to come together. So, no worries there. Okay, now still, this doesn't have a lot of flavor, does it? Because all it is broccoli and cashews that are unsalted. In fact, your number one flavor for broccoli is going to be salt. That is going to be the number one flavor. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Probably my favorite ingredient here is going to be the Better Than Bouillon no chicken base, some garlic and onion. By the way, these are some of the best spoons you'll ever find. The reason I like these is because you can really, I'm going to do a 1 part onion and 2 parts garlic. 1 part garlic, 2 parts onion here. Get some onion powder in there. But you can get these right to the bottom. See, this goes right to the bottom, where other ones are so short you can't get there. So that's why I like those. They work really good. All right, I'm going to just shut this off for a second here. And then we'll take some of this chickenless base. It's a beefless, chickenless. You can get veggie, lots of different bases, but just put a tablespoon of that in there. This has salt in it though, so watch out if you're going to do one. Be careful. I would do this first, and then if you need some salt, do the salt next. That would be the better way to do it. Okay, now you have cream of broccoli soup. If you want to get it a little cheesy, what you're going to want to do is add some nutritional yeast flakes to it. And just put in a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast flakes. That'll give it a little cheesy type of flavoring, so it's like a cheesy broccoli soup. And just like that, we're going to let this baby simmer. And probably the other thing I'd like to do real quick here is we get these organic carrots. And we can just take a few of these, which these are a little long. So I'm going to give them a little chop. Just to give them a little bit of a chop here. And that will bring some color, just enough to give it a little color. And then when this is ready, we'll just let it kind of set like this for until the soup's done. In fact, I'll probably even have to warm it up a little bit when the bread's done. When the bread's done, and then we'll be ready to show you the finished product. Well, it's been about 10 minutes since I took it out of the oven. 10-15 minutes. I just wanted to let this set for a minute. Actually, I'd let it set for another half hour, but you definitely want to let it set because we're going to pop this baby out of here, and then you're going to see what this looks like. Woo! There we go. Yeah, steaming hot. And then we can turn it back around. Whoa, that is a masterpiece, a work of art. Oh, let me tell you, your family is going to love this recipe. It is so easy and so healthy and delicious. And now what you want to do is let this rest for quite some time. If you look at my recipe, I show where you would actually cover it right now with some vegan butter, Earth Balance, something like that, and give it a little coating. You can also take sprays, olive oil spray, things like that. But I'm not going to do much of that today because we're kind of going low fat, low oil, and you don't need it. So, but let me share this with you. I'm going to cut a couple pieces off of here. And you really want to wait to do this. You really do. But this is a nice durable bread, so you can get away with it now. But take a look at that. Isn't that beautiful? This bread is absolutely breathtaking. But yeah, definitely make sure you let it rest and cool before you start doing that type of thing. All right? Okay, but I'll share with you what we got here, because we've got our soup right here. Little cream of broccoli soup, and I did put a few little carrots in there just for some personality. And so you'd have your soup and bread just like this. And then just to make it gourmet, I set aside some of the broccoli pieces, and after I cooked them, I put cold water in them to keep them bright and fresh. But that's the way you would do that. And have a couple pieces of bread right there. And just like that. I know, where's my beauty shot? My guys will get beauty shots of this later, for sure. But there you go. Now it's gourmet. So, that easy. You're going to love this bread recipe. We'll try to get the soup recipe out there for you too. It's a no-brainer. I mean, you really don't need a recipe for the soup, but you've got it. Mark Anthony, helping you get healthy one delicious bite at a time. We'll see you next time.